start us anytime.
I'm good. All right, Stochastic, here we go. It's your old pal EMac coming to you at 10 a.m. I've been up since 5:30. No, not for a sunrise service. I was writing articles. We've got the MLB article on the homepage, hot off the press. the NBA article just submitted. We're starting a 3-hour block of stochastic content. We've got an hour of MLB and then 2 hours of NBA. We've got the deeper dive and live before lock. All 30 teams in the association are in action today. It's going to be a fun one. Terry, I see you've moved out of the cardboard box.
Yes, we're out of the cardboard box and into a halfway house at this point. Temporary living. Now here for the weekend, my parents' place for the old Easter holiday. None of us are believers that I know of. Maybe one of my uncles is, but we always get together for the dinner aspects. We're grilling up some filet mignon later on. It's going to be a nice little meal. Seeing one of my cousins who I haven't seen since before the pandemic. We used to do like every holiday with him. He didn't have kids the last time I saw him. Now he's got 2. It's going to be weird. So yeah, so it should be a fun day.
I won't ask how his pandemic was going. Bada bing.
I think we know exactly how he spent it. Yeah.
Oh, how far away do your folks live from you? They're not that far, are they?
No, they're just like a half hour south of me.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I'm up in Jersey City. They're in Monmouth County, kind of down by like Jersey Shore. We're like, if you know where Point Pleasant is or any of those.
Oh, I'm familiar.
Like 20 minutes north of there.
I'm familiar. Been up there many a time. My aunt and uncle are up there in Oakhurst. Of all places.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
I didn't know that.
Yes, one of the 19,000 little.
Come up before. It's not like this is our first time together.
Oh, I thought I've mentioned it before. Yeah, they're up in
maybe
by Asbury Park. I've probably said Asbury Park before.
Yeah. I've got the goldfish memory too. So
yes. All righty. Well, let's jump in here. We've got
we're already behind.
10 games. I know. And we're going to get out on time today because we've got producer Mike running all 3 shows. And then you'll see me again for the NBA Live Before Lock with Eric Lindquist. And then in the interim, you're going to get the deeper dive for NBA. So no real weather concerns here. There was a touch of potential weather up there in Minnesota. Just keep tabs on that. That is going to be a 2:10 Eastern start. Looks like it shouldn't be anything that would cause the game to be suspended or postponed, but there could be a bit of a delay if weather ends up over the park. And we are going to be talking about the pitchers in that game. But for starters, we're going to get ready here for the first game. We're going to go with the Cincinnati Reds at the Philadelphia Phillies. Pitching change here. Graham Ashcraft is going to be going tomorrow in Atlanta against the Braves. So today it is, drum roll please, Connor Overton. Connor Overton, yikes. Here's the book on Connor Overton. A long and winding path to the show. It's an Easter story here. He was drafted in the 15th round of the 2014 draft after spending a couple seasons at Old Dominion University. The Virginia native has been in 6 different minor league organizations, and he has gotten brief call-ups from the Blue Jays, Pirates, and Reds over the last 2 seasons. This baseball nomad is making his 17th appearance. Target him because he lacks strikeouts and tends to issue walks. I stole your thunder there. You can have the other 19 teams. Why are we stacking the Phillies today?
Yeah, I think we definitely want to throw Phillies bats at this kid. I was going to throw Phillies bats at the other pitcher, and this one just gets a little bit more exciting. 33 innings last year, 11.3% strikeout rate in the very small sample. He was 23.8 in 15 1/3 the year before in 3 starts. So there is maybe a little bit more quality to be had in terms of strikeouts, but just giving up plenty of hard hit, 41.4% hard hit rate when guys are making contact last year, a 4.97 xFIP beneath that 2.73 ERA that he put up, again in a very small sample. But being 2 runs worse or 2+ runs worse in your xFIP to your ERA is pretty telling. So I think you can stack Phillies bats from top to bottom. I like the opportunity for Trey Turner. He was my home run pick from the Phils today. They're getting like mid-range. Their home run numbers got knocked down a little bit just because Overton had some weird results with a 0.81% home run rate last season. Home runs are wonky anyway, and his sample just wasn't big enough, and I didn't have time just replacing him before the show to change it. But I suspect that the model would probably show these guys pretty much the same as they had shown in the original matchup, which means Turner's got a decent shot at a homer. Obviously, Kyle Schwarber we like for a home run against basically anybody. A lefty against a weak righty here, I think we can definitely target Schwarber for power. You like Real Muto, Castellanos, Stott, Alec Bohm from the top of this lineup. Gets a little weaker down toward the bottom, probably three lefties, three in the projected lineup anyway, with Jake Cave, Cody Clemens, who's the second replacement first baseman they're on now. I was telling Mikey to tell the Phillies to trade for my guy, Bobby Dahlbeck, but he's not on this team right now. So you can kind of maybe go with Cody Clemens, but there's not much there. Brandon Marsh, I do like potentially as a wraparound if he's hitting ninth for light shares in Philly stacks, but we're really looking like 1 through 6 with the Phillies lineup.
Yeah, that's kind of where I landed as well. On the other side, going to the Reds here, some intriguing options against Taijuan Walker, who is like a slightly better version of Connor Overton. That's about all I'm going to give him there. But let's see, Will Myers, mispriced, $3,000 on DraftKings. That's kind of a cheat code. You can also look to Jason Bosler and Jake Fraley with the platoon advantage. Anybody else you want to call out here from the Reds?
Yeah, Vossler would have been the one I threw into the mix. I'm getting a nice little home run mark on him, multi-position eligibility for 3,600 on DK, 3,000 on the FanDuel slate. I like him quite a bit. That's a decent left-handed bat to throw at Taijuan here. Jake Fraley up toward the top of the lineup, hitting third today, 4,500, 2,900 site to site. Definitely a decent amount of pop in that bat, from time to time, right? He's not a massive home run hitter, but he knocked 12 out of the park in 247 plate appearances last year. He hit 9 in 265. Part-time guy, hits part-time home runs. The contact profile is not really there for him, but we've seen him do it enough times that I do believe he's got a little bit of upside. TJ Friedel, I would also put in that mix. Jonathan India, the leadoff man at second base. There's some skill. I don't love this Reds lineup. They're not very good. Will Myers is the most interesting hitter, I think, on that team. Like, I think we'll see him have a nice year in this in their bandbox, but road games, Philly's an okay hitter's park, don't get me wrong, but it's not Cincinnati. I like Will Myers for a lot of these home games, especially if he's going to cost 2,400 on the FanDuel slate. I don't know that I love him here. He could certainly go yard on Taijuan Walker. There's not a lot to love about Taijuan. If you look at his numbers, 20.3% strikeout rate over 157 and a third last year. Only a 2.31% home run rate, 3.98 the year before that, though. Plenty of hard hit rate available, 39.9 last year, 39.4 the year before, 9.8% barrel rate year before, 7.3 last year. So there's decent contact available, decent home run trajectory against Taijuan here. You can grab some Reds. I'm not that enthusiastic about them, though. Like, I would have minor interest in some of those lefties bats.
All right, let's get on to our next game here because we've got 9 more to go. Everybody hit that like button. By the way, we've got about 200 people in here. I think we can get up to let's say 60, 65 likes. That'll be a lot of fun. Nice little start here on our Easter Sunday. Remember, we do have the new Odds Shop show on the YouTube channel titled Odds Shopper, because we have 4 different YouTube channels here at Stokastic. So check that out. That's going to air every weekday at 4 o'clock. You're going to get Lofty, Ben, Greg, Lindquist, Eitan, and more as they break down sports wagering using the premium Odd Shopper tools, data, and Bet Pro. Down below us in the links here in the description, you can see how to get Bet Pro and Odd Shopper as potential subscriptions. Game number 2 here, we've got the Red Sox at Detroit here, going to be in the low 50s, light breeze coming in from right field. Rob Refsnyder leading off for $2,000 on DraftKings. Figure he's going to be popular here because it allows you to get all those pitchers we don't really need to spend up for today. Tomorrow's where all the good pitchers are hiding. But in the meantime, we got Cutter Crawford, great name for a pitcher. Too bad he doesn't pitch very well. Matthew Boyd, trivia question. Where did Matthew Boyd play last year?
13 and a third innings for the Detroit Tigers, I think.
No, those were with the Seattle Mariners.
Were they really?
Yes, indeed.
He was in Seattle
for a hot minute, and then Detroit said,
at all.
We miss you. Come back. Here's a $10 million. Here's a $10 million 1-year deal. Come back.
Are you serious? He went to Seattle, sir?
I do
not remember that at all. You're right. He was on. Holy shit! I had no idea. That fell out of my brain completely. I'm not even going to say that one's goldfish memory. Like, that wasn't worth remembering. But wow, yeah, that's a bit of a surprise. And then the Tigers were like, "Hey, you're not any good. We're the Tigers. You might as well come back," because that makes sense.
Yeah, the $10 million. I'm like, really? You could have got him for like $3 million if you wanted. So yeah, I'm not even sure.
Or done some great things around the city of Detroit with $10 million as well. I don't know that Matthew Boyd needed it.
Yeah. Indeed.
Anyway,
so clearly we're going to like the Bo Sox. slight tepid interest in the Tigers with hobby buy as Spencer Torkelson, maybe Akil Baddoo.
Yeah.
Hey, remember me?
Yeah, that's the guy I was going to call out.
Yeah,
I think
it hit us briefly through Detroit, and then you'll probably want to spend some time on the Bo Sox.
Yeah, a little bit. So between the two dead minimum price leadoff hitters with Rob Refsnyder on the Red Sox and Akil Baddoo, who got the call up yesterday because Austin Meadows went back to the IL with his anxiety issues, I kind of like Baddoo a little bit better. He had a rough year last year, 225 plate appearances in the show, only 2 homers, stole 9 bases, but the triple slash was bad, 204, 289, 269. Ouch. Created runs 35% worse than average. You look a year before that, though, he made 461 plate appearances for these Tigers in 2021, hit 13 long balls, 18 stolen bases, had a 108 WRC plus, 177 ISO. That's a nice little player at the top of a lineup for 2,000. You're going to get 5 plate appearances out of him. I kind of like that spot. I don't know that I love stacking Tigers very much, even against Cutter Crawford. Crawford is maybe a little bit better than he got credit for in that intro. I don't like his run numbers, but he had an 11.3% swinging strike rate last year, 23.1% strikeout rate over 77 and a third, only 12 starts. So there might be a little something there. I think the Red Sox do think a little bit of the kid. He's certainly not there yet. He's not an established pitcher, so you can throw bats at him. So it would be for me, Baddoo, maybe some Riley Green up at the top, who's out to a nice start to this season and hopefully, getting his career underway. Javi Baez is pretty washed, but he's hitting third. He's cheap. You can get there. Kerry Carpenter's got a decent power stick from the left side of the plate. And Spencer Torkelson, again, another rough start, but he's super cheap. I don't know that I want to go to the Nick Maton, Miguel Cabrera part of that lineup. So probably like 1 through 5 for me if I'm going to Tigers, but not too many versions of that. The Red Sox, like you said, up against Matthew Boyd. A couple years ago, Boyd had a ridiculous home run problem. 2018, 2019, I think it was, or it was 2018, 2019. He allowed like 60 something home runs across those 2 seasons combined, just an absurd number of home runs. Then he's been injured. He's been in and he's been out. So I don't think very much of this pitcher. I think you can definitely get to him. Refsnyder up at the top, nice little correlation piece. 307, 384, 497 last year, created runs 46% better than average in his 177 plate appearances. Very small sample, nowhere near those numbers in a similar sample the year before. He's a replacement level player at best, but he's going to be hitting in front of Rafael Devers, Justin Turner, Alex Verdugo, Adam Duvall. We start to diminish our enthusiasm, but Duvall still got a lot of power, nice contact profile last year. His home runs dropped to 12 over 315 plate appearances, but the barrel rate was still 12.8%, 40.4% hard hit. So I kind of like Duvall. He's sneaky at 4,900 on DK, only 3,800 over on, priced up at 3,800 on the FanDuel slate. I said only because Christian Arroyo is immediately below him with 3 position eligibility for 2,400 on the FanDuel slate, which is a nice little price for a utility player type of guy who doesn't have much of a home run stroke, but drives the ball fairly well. It can definitely help create runs. Enrique Hernandez is fine. Tristan Casas is a premium rookie who is a little bit slow out of the gate, but for 2,600, you can buy a little power there, 2,800 on FanDuel. Connor Wong, don't really need much of at the bottom of the lineup here, but Red Sox are pretty stackable, at least like 1 through 8 against this pitcher, and you can get enthusiastic about 1 through 5.
You know who has one hell of a home run stroke?
Giancarlo Stanton.
Clarence Carter. Clarence Carter. You're not familiar with Clarence Carter stroking? Oh. Great song. Okay. I will drop this in chat. This is like,
I thought that was going to be some obscure porn reference once you got to.
The song kind of is a little bit of a porn reference, but. Gotcha. But yeah, come on, chat. Give us some thumbs up if you're aware of the song.
I hear there's stroking. A long solo in that song.
Potentially. It's the dirtier version of 60 Minute Man, if you will. All right. With that, let's get to a cleaner topic here. The very clean Tampa Bay Rays, no longer the Devil Rays here. You've got Drew Rasmussen, who's going to be everybody's favorite pitcher today. Rasmussen is, 1, he's been pretty solid, and 2, he gets to face the Oakland Athletics. The Athletics are averaging just 3.4 runs per game. Last year, Rasmussen made the conversion to full-time starter. He did only average 80 pitches per start. So that works out to be about 20 batters. That's kind of in line with what Tampa Bay tends to do, is they don't like their pitchers to go through the lineup a third time, but he can still get some strikeouts and be in line for the win in this kind of a situation. We've got a favorable ballpark here, favorable opponent. So I think he's going to be a key option in everybody's planning. On the other side, you've got James Kaprielian. Has struggled, had a few moments here and there. But I don't think of him as a very good major league pitcher. He probably deserves.
There are two major retailer like superstores in this country. One of them is Walmart. What's the other one called?
Kaprielians.
Yes, exactly. I was thinking Target.
Target.
It is a target on this slate. You could throw Rays bats at them. They're a fantastic baseball team. I really like the spot for all things Tampa Bay on this one. Anyway, keep going.
Right.
Didn't mean to cut
that's really all I got. Right. This is an easy one to gain some time back here. So run through it quickly.
Yeah, I have zero interest in the A's. You could definitely get baseballed on this one. They could string together some sequencing. Somebody could hit one out of the park. They don't even have Seth Brown in the lineup, who's the one hitter on that team that I do like. So zero interest in the A's, zero interest in Kaprielian here against the Rays. I think he's going to get torched. Love the Rays from top to bottom. Brandon Lau leading off, ton of power at second base. He's only 3,700 on DK because they forgot how good he was. 2,800 on FanDuel. They definitely forgot. Get some Brandon Lau into your lineups. Wander Franco, Randy Arozarena. I like Luke Raley on the left side of the plate. Decent little power bat. They've got three hitters: Luke Raley, Isaac Paredes, and Harold Ramirez. First base, outfield, second base, third base, first base, outfield, multi-position guys. 2,500, 3,900, 3,300 on DK. Cheaper on FanDuel. All three of them only play one position on FanDuel, but that's okay. They're very good hitters. You can get to some decent power in Paredes and Luke Raley there. And then Harold Ramirez is just an excellent striker of the baseball. He's another guy who just hits line drives like crazy. He did homer the other day when I called him a non-home run hitting, excellent offensive player. He showed me that I was wrong and hit one out of the park. We could get that again today, but he's much more of a run creator than he is a home run hitter. But I really like that spot. Josh Lowe, Manny Margot, Christian Bethancourt. You can get a little bit out of them as mix and match type pieces, but it's really the actions 1 through 6 on this team. And then Drew Rasmussen, 8,300 is a misprice in this matchup for a pitcher of Rasmussen's talents. 10.5 on FanDuel is probably correct. I'll be enthusiastic about it. I hope that price tag keeps people away from him. I want a lot of Drew Rasmussen on this slate. To your point, they do typically not like guys going through the batting order a third time. But in his first start against the Nats, Rasmussen faced only 20 hitters and threw a complete 6 innings. So he got to that quality start mark for us. He had a great game through, I think, 81 pitches, 7 strikeouts, only allowed 2 hits against the Nationals team that is maybe a little bit better than this terrible A's lineup. So yeah, I really like the spot for Rasmussen. I think he can book you the QS on FanDuel. I don't really see any issues with it whatsoever.
It was actually 66 pitches.
Oh, it was only 66.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
Yeah, so it was incredibly efficient there. So yeah. I think he's good for 80 at any point.
Yeah,
this season. The one thing I did
score, I think that I looked at.
Yeah, a 21.9% strikeout rate last year, but a 12% swinging strike rate. I think we're going to start to see his actual strikeouts tick up somewhat here.
Yeah, I think there's.
All righty, let's hit the next one. Michael Kopech, Johan Oviedo. Wasn't he Cardinals once upon a time? Like,
I think so.
Year?
Yeah,
getting people confused.
Pretty sure.
Let's talk about Michael Kopech. What the hell happened to him?
He's not that good.
I thought he was supposed to be so good in a strikeout guy. He's just been getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, he throw a ball hard. That's basically all he's got, though. I'm not a big fan. 8,000 on the DK slate, 8,700 on FanDuel. Last year's numbers: 21.3% strikeout rate, over 119 and a third in 25 starts. That's our strikeout guy. He also walked 11.5%. That is way too high. 9.9% swinging strike, 41.3% hard hit allowed. Not a lot to love there. He got torched in his first game of this season too. I think he could be in for a long, short day against the Pirates here. That Pirates lineup is improved. And I like a few of their pieces anyway, like 1 through 6 on the Pirate side. I think are definitely interesting. There's some home run potential against Kopech here. He could go out and find his form and have a nice start. He has done that in the minors. He does have a decent track record. He has been a highly regarded prospect over time, but I don't know that it's there. I really haven't seen it yet. So I'm more interested in, I think, the Pirates side of this one. Very much like I'm more interested in White Sox bats than I am Johan Oviedo.
If you're looking to the White Sox, dear God, the back half of their lineup is just bad. Look how fast it trails off now that Jose Abreu's in Houston.
Yeah, well, and especially this version of the lineup, with that Eloy Jimenez, who's on the IL.
Oh, that's who's missing.
Yeah, that's a major
and Luis
downgrade
Roberts.
and Luis Roberts not in the lineup. So a couple major downgrades to this lineup. I do still like the first 6 hitters in that lineup, though. Timmy Anderson, everybody knows I love home run and speed guy with a fantastic hit tool. Andrew Benintendi, also a very, very good hit tool, a nice correlation piece. Not major power out of those guys, but decent power out of both of them, mid-teens type home run power. Andrew Vaughn, nice first base piece. That's why Jose Abreu's in Houston now, because they thought Vaughn could step into that role. He and Gavin Sheets are both in the lineup today. Joan Moncada has had a nice start to his season after having a pretty good World Baseball Classic. He's cleaning up. He hits from both sides of the plate, only 4,800, 3,200 from site to site. I really like the spot for Moncada here. And then Sheets and Oscar Colas, the rookie from the left side of the plate, 2,700, 2,800 DK, 2,300, 2,600 FanDuel. Colas hasn't really gotten anything going yet, but they like his bat. I think he's going to produce power and speed prospects. So I think 1 through 6, they're definitely playable. Romy Gonzalez, Sebi Zavala, and Elvis Andrews. Everybody knows Elvis Andrews, probably my least favorite player, not named Luke Voigt. Don't like him at all, but he is productive from time to time for MLB DFS purposes. There's no denying that. 3,600, 2,400 from site to site. He's certainly in play if you're building a lot of White Sox stacks as a wraparound play. He'll be in one of the fewest owned White Sox in my lineups.
All right. Shout out there to Fanatic. Gives me a chance to mention that the Spotlight Pitchers and Top Stacks article is posted on Stokastic homepage. Nice. Submitted that little bad boy around 7:30 because I was up at 5:30 writing articles. So yay, I'm going to need a nap this afternoon. Oh, wait, I'm doing taxes. This is going to be a fun day. But let's get on to some more baseball here. Let's have some fun at the Baltimore Orioles expense.
Real quick, sorry. Before we move on, are you going to Oviedo at 6,200 on the DK slate?
I will cap him at 15%. I haven't run lineups yet, but he would be someone at that salary I'm okay with.
That's why I wanted to make sure we discussed it, because there
are so many mispriced batters and not really anybody to spend up for at pitching. I don't know that we need to get there, but I like to have a nice spread with my SP2s, so he would be in the mix.
Yeah, and that helps you buy a significant bat. That's a Byron Buxton hitter type price for a pitcher there. Looking at the numbers, him and Cutter Crawford are like right next to each other. I'm sorted by FanDuel projection, but same. So Crawford's 5,800, he's 6,200. Those would be my 2 value pitchers du jour on the DK slate. Matthew Boyd, I want no part of it, 6,500, and all the other guys, Garrett, Kopech, Wells, Overton, Woodford, don't really have interest in those guys. So for me in the value range, it's Crawford and Oviedo, but don't really like Oviedo.
All right. Nestor Cortes going to be like the top 3 pitcher, I think here. I prefer Drew Rasmussen, but nobody's going to complain about Cortes going against the Orioles with the 3.5 implied run total. The Orioles, of course, are plucky, and talented, but lacking experience.
I don't know what it means.
What means?
That's a quote from Guardians of the Galaxy. It says, "Don't call us plucky. We don't know what it means."
There we go. I'm vaguely familiar with that.
I haven't gotten to that one yet. That might be in like Endgame or one of the later ones, actually.
I think they're coming out with a 4th one.
They're coming out with a 4th and a 5th one in future years. Got a little ways to go, though. You got like 2 years to catch up on your ones that you haven't seen yet.
I've got time. James McCann, there's your cheap home run. That's for Seth. Finn Hader out there. The 9-hole home runs count the same as the other home runs. So I do like him. But otherwise, Nestor Cortes is going to be a big part of everybody's plans today. Probably a lot of Yankee bats. How are you reading this one?
Certainly a lot of Yankee bats. They were leading my power index for the day. Got 1, 2, 3 guys over the magic number of 10 in my home run model, with Aaron Judge leading the whole day at 16.76. Rizzo and Stanton, the other 2, kind of obvious there. But we've got Glaber in that lineup. We've probably got Waldo Cabrera in that lineup, who I like. Franchi Cordero is probably going to be hitting from the left side of the plate. He's got a lot of thunder in that bat. 12.3% barrel rate, 45.5% hard hit in 275 plate appearances last year. He cost 2,500 on DK, plays first and outfield, 2,400 first and outfield on FanDuel. FanDuel. Don't sleep on Franchy Cordero down the bottom of this Yankees lineup against this pitcher. Plenty of hard hit, plenty of home run available against Tyler Wells here. Last season, Wells 4.60 xFIP, 4.25 ERA, 3.78% home run rate, 38.8% hard hit. This is a pitcher that you can absolutely throw Yankees bats at. He only struck out 18% last year. Might find a couple extra strikeouts against the free swinging Yankees, but it looks to me like they're going to be loaded up on power. Anthony Volpe struggling out of the gate as a rookie, but certainly a lot of pop and speed. Should have had his first home run yesterday if that stupid wall in right field wasn't there. If he had hit the ball a foot to the left, it would have been gone, but he tripled. So it was a very nice little day for him. So hopefully he gets things going. So Yanks basically 1 through 9. You don't really need to include Jose Trevino in your stacks. He's not much of a hitter. He can go deep from time to time. He hit 11 out of the park in 353 plate appearances last year, but he's much more a defensive oriented catcher. So I don't love stacking Trevino in there. I'll have a couple shares if I'm loading up on Yankees, but really it's about the, kind of obvious names on that team. The Orioles side of things, I do love these Orioles. I think the world of this lineup. They're, a fantastic developing young team. They've got a lot of toolsy players. They've got switch hitters. They've got a ton of pop, a ton of speed. That said, I do agree. I think Nestor's the number 2 guy on the board today. He projects out that way for me. Really like the spot. 10,000 on FanDuel, 9,300 on DK. You can absolutely go there. Nestor has earned my faith and my love at this point. I was the last person to get on board. Very much a show me again and again kind of a person. And he convinced me. I mean, it's all about guile, deception, changing pace, changing his arm angle, changing his pitch mix. He makes it work. He undeniably makes it work. 26.5% strikeouts last year, a .92 whip, doesn't allow a ton of opportunity. I see Nestor not cruising, but having an effective start here. So I definitely think he's worth it. At the same time, I can take some hedge stacks of Orioles. So probably a 3 of 4 corners game from me. Cedric Mullins, Adley Rutschman, Ryan Mountcastle. Well, actually, I think this lineup just confirmed before. So let me make sure I'm talking about the right guys. Yep, Mullins, Rutschman, Mountcastle, Santander, some Austin Hayes, probably a little underrated power there for Austin Hayes. Jorge Mateo back in the lineup after missing yesterday, hitting 7th today, ahead of Gunnar Henderson, which is an interesting configuration. And then your guy James McCann in the 9 spot. That's an interesting little home run call against the lefty. He's got a lot of good history against the lefty as a right-handed bat.
That's right, Derek Carty. This one's for you, lefty mashers. It's a thing. It's real. It's real. All right. Anything else from this? Well, I mean, aside from the Yankees bats, do you think any of the regulars get a day off today?
We'll probably see one of the big thumpers end up sitting just because it's a Sunday day game, Easter Sunday. Boone does, like to swap guys in. That said, we did get a Hicks start yesterday. I'm trying to remember the configuration yesterday. So it could definitely happen. We'll see what the confirm looks like, but they're going to look good either way. And just, lop that guy off and play the other guys. It doesn't get that complicated with the Yanks. But again, just definitely don't sleep on Franchy Cordero if he's in that lineup. I like that power upside for cheap.
All righty. I see some people asking about top stacks and top pitchers too. Those will be updated shortly. Remember, we started 2 hours early today to get in that early base or NBA slate because you're going to get 2 hours for that. I had to write the NBA article today. That was a disaster, going through 30 teams trying to figure out who the hell is playing and who is going to get yanked without any notice whatsoever. Spoiler alert, we have no idea, but for that second one of who's going to get yanked. But I know they were waiting through that, and we just got MLB projections up, so I'm sure they're running top stacks and top pitchers. Next reminder, they really don't always come out with those till 11 o'clock is the posting time for that, just because there's a lot of moving parts to get the first runs of those done correctly. So
takes a little longer. You gotta.
Yeah, we're still a half hour out of that, but don't worry, that once we get more and more data, that process does become a little bit quicker throughout the year. But it's always a little tricky the first part of the season. All right, next game here, the Mariners against the Guardians. This one is in Cleveland, going to be another game in the low 50s, slight breeze coming in from center. Don't have the lineups yet on this one, but we do know George Kirby, roughs go in his last start, but he's an incredibly talented pitcher. A lot of fun to watch how he sets up hitters in very different ways. I was impressed as a Mariners fan. I think of the Cleveland lineup as relatively pesky, especially with their switch hitters, Jose Ramirez and Josh Bell in the middle of the lineup here. This is kind of a neutral one. I'm okay with the teams. I'm okay with the pitchers. These are all going to be secondary pitchers, secondary stacks for me. Do you have anything in particular you want to highlight from this game, or is it just, oh, I'll take that guy in my lineup?
I will take plenty of Mariner stacks. I will take a solid handful of Guardian stacks. I think quite a bit of that lineup. I do think a lot of George Kirby. I really like the pitcher. 8,100 on DK. You're not making a mistake. 9,200 on FanDuel. Starting to push it a little bit price wise against this excellent Guardians lineup. What I am concerned with is he's a very, very good young pitcher, but he's only got 130 innings under his belt, 24.5% strikeout rate, an excellent 4.1% walk rate last year, 3.33 xFIP. Like everything is really, really good, but these Guardians are super difficult to strike out. Looking down the Guardians projected lineup, Steven Kwan, 9.4% strikeout rate last year. That's absurd. Amed Rosario, 16.6. Jose Ramirez, super duper star, 12% strikeout rate. Josh Naylor, who's probably going to be in the lineup, 16.1%. Josh Bell, 15.8. Oscar Gonzalez, 19.6. All of these are well below average for strikeouts, or above, depending on how you want to look at it. They're very difficult to strike out, is what I'm trying to say. So the upside might be a little bit capped for Kirby, and they could string together some sequencing. They've got power. They've got a ton of speed on this team. This is a really, really good Guardians lineup. They're very balanced. They hit the ball very well. They drive the ball well. They steal bases. They score runs. They create runs. All of the top 7 hitters were at least, well, let's take Amed Rosario out because he was at a 103 WRC plus. Everybody else was at least 17% better than average creating runs last season. 117 was Naylor. The other guys are in the 120s all the way up to Jose Ramirez at 139. Really like that Guardians lineup. Think that a good pitcher in George Kirby might have a little bit of trouble today. I'm not saying he's going to get lit, but I do think it's going to be a tough start for him. So we'll see. I have tepid interest in Kirby as a pitcher. Definitely want to get to Guardian stacks, and I want to throw Mariners bats at Zach Plesac as much as I possibly can. I don't think much to Plesac at all. I don't want to play him. 7,200 on DK. I think we've got better options on the board for cheap pitching. Some of the guys we talked about before. Plesac, 17.6% strikeout rate last year, 3.35% home runs, 40.9% hard hit, a 4.40 xFIP, similar numbers the year before. He's just a soft tosser. He's going to allow a ton of contact to a team with a ton of power on it. So Julio Rodriguez, Ty France, Eugenio Suarez, Cal Raleigh, Teoscar Hernandez up at the top of the lineup. I like all 5 of those guys. A lot of home run upside there. Even Ty France, who's more of a contact-oriented hitter, hit 20 home runs last season. Going down that lineup, though, it was 28, 20, 31, 27, and 25 in the home run department. There's a lot of power 1 through 5 for the Mariners. Then you get down to Colton Wong, who's a very serviceable mid-range guy, 15, 17 last year in home runs, stolen bases. AJ Pollock, nice veteran bat. Jared Kelnick, monster spring, now struggling, of course, now that the game started to count. But the dude has still hit a bunch of home runs in not that many plate appearances over the last 2 seasons, despite all his struggles in the triple slash of quality. So if he's in the lineup, he'll make it into my lineup. So I really like both offenses. Minor shares of George Kirby, no shares of Zach Plesac for me.
I may have to rethink my Plesac.
Yeah, he's not very good.
No, and am I giving him credit for his uncle was Dan Plesac, right?
Was it his uncle? I was imagining a relation. I didn't know whether it was his uncle or his dad or what, but yeah, first game, not that we want to go by first games or anything, like 1 game samples or anything, but struggled quite a bit in that first appearance. 1 inning pitched, 11 batters faced, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, a home run, a walk, and 1 strikeout.
Yeah,
it's not a good first start of the year for Zach Plesac last week.
Yeah, his uncle is Dan. Another uncle, Joe Plesac, played 5 years in the minors.
Okay.
So, there you go.
Love those baseball bloodlines. Always fun.
Indeed. All right, we've got 4 games to go. We got about 20 minutes. We're going to get a little out of here a little early. Well, we're not screwing around today, Terry. We got 2 more hours of NBA coming up after us. All sorts of lineups to be built for MLB. So we've got to
we need to start screwing around. Tell us your favorite Easter candy in the chat. Come on, let's get a debate going. What's going on here, people?
There we go. Chocolate bunnies, yes or no? In the meantime,
well, I think you guys yes or no is the big controversy, right? Those little marshmallow
hell no.
I don't dislike them. I would have those. I haven't had
I don't not like them, but they're basically like cotton candy, but not as
I mean, you could fill a syringe and just inject it into your arm with sugar and you get the same effect. But yeah. And see, now we're off the rails.
All right. So while we're doing that, I want to remind everybody you can get 30 free days of Stokastic premium content by downloading the Stokastic avatar from stokastic.com/avatar. Upload that to your DFS site of choice. Place top 3 in a contest with at least 5,000 entries, and you will get 30 free days of Stokastic premium. All you got to do is tweet the win to Stokastic HOF. with your stochastic avatar in the screenshot that is first, second, or third, no ties, unless it's a three-way tie for first. That is allowed, or a two-way tie for second, and only one person got first. But you got to have finished top three, no ties. Yesterday, held hands across the finish line, missed it by a point. 20 of us tied for second in the DK NBA tiers. DK double posted almost every contest they had under $10. So the single entry $5 50/50s, everybody that entered got paid because it didn't. Less people entered than cash, and I wasn't paying attention, so I only got into one of those. But
that sounds like a FanDuel move to me.
Yes, I can't remember how long it has been since DK has done something like that. And I was so caught off guard, I didn't even pay attention. But it was all their showdowns, their tiers, everything. So that was kind of fun. Got an extra.
How your Masters lineup there?
I've
for golf.
My outright wagering, I had a lot of Rory. That's no bueno. He missed the cut.
Yeah, I had quite a bit of them in my my lineups. This is the one tournament a year I tend to make. This and the U.S. Open, I'll make lineups for.
Yeah, so that one's gonna leave a mark. If is it Harold Varner Varsho?
I was gonna say Varsho, but that's not right. That's
I've got somebody whoever it is. I've got them as an outright ticket, and they were like in 5th place.
Okay,
but they're significantly. I think it's
I got a couple chasers. Nothing great, but a couple with all 6 guys through and decent scores. So we'll see. Might be able to turn a little bit of a profit on it, but it's not going to be pretty. But the point I was going to make is I don't know. I mean, I know about golf a little bit, but like I can't name more than like 10 guys on the tour. I put 150 lineups into that tournament using the stochastic tools because we've got killer projections, that top golfers tool. What I started to do, I put together the products of, just combine all 6 golfers that went into the lineup so that I could evaluate the opportunity for all 6 guys to make the cut based on our probability marks. We provide the make the cut marks. We provide the top 6 finish marks. We provide the win marks. You can calculate the probabilities to get like, does this lineup have a potential winner? What's the probability that this lineup has a potential winner in it? So there's a lot that you can do with our golf data. It's actually pretty cool.
All right, it's Victor Hovland. You guys,
I knew it.
My effing dyslexia here. Harold Varsho. I knew there was a V's and H's.
There's a V in there somewhere. It's a floating V. You can put it anywhere you want.
Okay, a little bit off. At least Harold Varner is a golfer, so that's close on that one. But no, Victor Hovland. He's 5 back. I have him courtesy of Eric Lindquist. Some nice content out there. On the Odd Shopper Golf channel. I was watching his video and he had Victor Hovland as one of his outright recommendations. So I put $50 on that, and I think I can win. I think I'll win like 900 or 1,000 if I get it, something like that.
Okay.
So I was using one of my free wagers to get on that. So, but sadly, I should have put him on like top 5. When you're doing golf bets, picking outrights is fun. But if your guy's up there, like, oh my God, right now he's in 3rd. He's 5 shots off the lead, right? So I get nothing. There are no style points. Yeah, sometimes you may want to just back them a little bit with the top 10 or a top 20 finish. Just
attack it like a horse race almost. Just bet them, get your wager, the win, place, and show.
Exactly. Get your wager back and be break even if they have a good showing but don't quite get there. So that's one way to look at it. Yeah, Cameron Young or Cameron Smith was another one of mine. But play Cam Thomas today. He's going to score 40 points. There's your NBA news.
There you go. Great. Now we don't have to do the NBA show. We can keep talking baseball.
It's perfect. It's perfect. All right. Now that we are slightly behind time, I feel like we can start up baseball once again. You see what I did there too. We need the pressure. We need the pressure to make diamonds, baseball diamonds, that is. We've got the Miami Marlins in New York taking on the Metropolitans. You've got Braxton Garrett on the mound. Tough ask going against a very right-handed heavy Mets lineup here. Braxton Garrett is someone we will utilize from time to time because his salary and an SP2 and potential strikeout upside. This isn't the time. Carlos Correa, on the other hand, I'm not overly excited by him. The Marlins, they're not a bad lineup, but there's absolutely no upside in their lineup. Is that a good way of saying it? I guess aside from Jazz Chisholm, but you've got Chisholm, Cooper, Luis Arias, De La Cruz, Juli Gurriel, Avisol Garcia, Gene Segura. I mean, these are all guys that have played forever in the majors. but they're all back. They're all like fourth outfielders, utility infielders, and they have a whole team of them now.
And Julie Gurriel is fantastic, but is like 104 years old.
Yeah, he's like 37 or 38.
Yeah, there's a reason he's not on the Astros anymore.
He legitimately 2 years ago he won the. Didn't he win the batting?
Yeah, batting title. He had a phenomenal year that year, and then just fell off last year. But terrific player. Unfortunately, came over, just was able to get here from Cuba in like his mid 30s. His younger brother Lourdes Gurriel has a much longer career ahead of him. But at least we got to see Julie for a little while, and we got one more year of him here in Miami. Looks like no Jorge Soler in the lineup today, who is the other interesting bat for this Miami team after Jazz Chisholm. You could maybe go to like a Jazz Chisholm, Garrett Cooper. I don't love Luis Arias hitting third. He's a fantastic stick in terms of the hit tool, but there's no pop. There's not a lot of run driving in there. So I don't know why he's hitting third necessarily. I would probably have him hitting first or second in that lineup, with Jazz hitting first or second, and maybe drop like Cooper. But regardless, they don't need me to reconstruct the lineup on the show. Brian De La Cruz, Julie Gurriel, Avi Garcia are fine, but not good. Kind of like you said, there's like, it's an okay veteran kind of a lineup, but there's not a ton of upside. Maybe a little stolen base upside out of John Bree from the 9 hole. Not a lot to like here. I actually do like Carlos Carrasco on this slate. Decent strikeout upside, 23.6% over 152 last year. Nice pitcher, nice solid veteran guy, basically back to form. 8,500 on DK, only 8,000 on FanDuel. I think there's some upside there, especially against this version of this Marlins lineup. Carrasco could cruise. I don't know what the ownership's going to come in at, but that's an interesting spot. And then, no Braxton Garrett for me in this slate, in this matchup. Just I'll load up Mets bats against him. If I take the L, I'll take the L there. But Pete Alonso has been red hot from the right side of the plate, leading baseball with 5 home runs. Brandon Nimmo, Starling Marte, Francisco Lindor. The bottom half of the lineup is like all veteran, mid-range veteran quality with like Mark Canha, Jeff McNeil, Tommy Pham, Eduardo Escobar type guys. The guy I want to bring up from the bottom of the lineup, assuming that he's in there, we haven't gotten this one confirmed. Is rookie catcher Francisco Alvarez, 2,100 on the DK slate. He is a top end prospect, one of the top prospects in all of baseball. Had monster home run numbers in the minor leagues the last couple seasons. So definitely, if he's in the lineup, get some Francisco Alvarez into your life, especially on DK, where you have to play catchers. 2,100 is just a absolute misprice for that kid. Not a lot of experience in the show yet, but against this pitcher, I'm not really worried about that. I think you can. If you're stacking a ton of Mets on FanDuel, you can probably get there and include him at 2,200. I would rather he was hitting like 6th or 7th if that was the case, but I think he's at least serviceable and usable there. But I love that Francisco Alvarez play on the DK slate at 21.
All right. 30 at bats, 14 hits for Luis Arias. How many extra base hits out of those 14?
1?
2. Somehow he got 2. All right. 2 doubles.
All right, a couple gappers. There's a decent sized outfield down there. It's look, like I said, I mean, he's a terrific hitter. Like he's got an excellent bat on ball tool, the great hit tool, but he just doesn't hit for any power to speak of. So he's just kind of miscast in that 3-hitter role. Like I want him creating runs and getting on ahead of the power bats here a little bit, not to get too traditional baseball about it, but you're talking about a guy who was 316, 375, 420 last year, created runs 31% better than average, but he only had a 104 ISO. He hit 8 home runs in 603 plate appearances. Year before, 479 PAs, he hit 2 home runs, a .082 ISO. That is not a 3-hitter in my mind. So interesting decision by the Marlins management. We'll see what happens.
412 career slugging.
That is low. That is low.
Not good. Not good. All right. 3 to go. Let's talk a little pitching here. We got Freddie Peralta. He's actually popping up at the top of the tools here for the top pitchers and top stacks tools are now updated. He's coming in near the top. I'm still going to go with Rasmussen as my number 1, but Peralta probably does look like a number 2, number 3 option today. We'll talk about 2 others in the upcoming games. The Brew Crew offense, sometimes we're going to pick on him, Terry. Sometimes we're going to take him. Today is a day we're going to take him. Jake Woodward on the mound. He is or Woodford. Sorry, Woodford. Got his name wrong. 26 years
is that we don't even need to remember his actual name.
Yeah, 26 years old. Did you know he was the 39th overall selection in the 2015 draft? But he did get drafted out of high school. he's holding a spot. He's like a multi-inning reliever, just garbage for strikeouts. We're going to see Matthew Liberatore up at some point here, filling in his spot. But I don't know if Adam Wainwright is retired or not. I know he's hurt. Who else? They got like Steven Matz there. It's just, this is not a good, aside from Jordan Montgomery, this is not a good lineup.
This is finally the year that the Cards trade for my man Herman Marquez from Colorado, and Herman Marquez becomes the pitcher that he should, now that I don't have him on my fantasy roster anymore for $1.
Yes,
it's gonna happen. He will be pitching for the Cardinals before the end of the season. That is my prognostication of prognostications.
It's going to happen. Willie Adames, Raditellez, William Contreras, not to be confused with Wilson Contreras. Both
don't call him the other guy.
Brothers. Those guys are good. Bryce Terang, I can't decide if he's going to be good or not. DraftKings, he's just 2,600. He can steal. He's got to get on base, though. Remember Christian Yelich? He used to be an MVP. And then Jesse Winker has had moments. He's been played. This is like his third team in 3 years or whatever, but he's still around.
For the Reds 2 years ago, and then lost all his power out in Seattle's Big Dumb Ballpark last year. But I actually like Winker quite a bit in this Brewers park, so I think he's going to have a nice year. So,
but this is a lineup today. We're taking them. There's going to be other times where I'm listing these guys as reasons we should attack them. But today we're going to take them.
Woodford definitely a target here. 12.8% strikeouts last year, 17.1 in a larger sample the year before. Throw Brewers bats at him. The one thing that he did last year in his very small 48 and a third, which was mostly out of the bullpen, was limit home runs. Only a 0.53% home run rate, which is spectacular. But I don't expect that to continue in a full start here. Yelich, Jesse Winker, Willie Adames, Rowdy Tellez, if he's cleaning up, nice barrel rate, nice hard hit profile. William Contreras, definitely, like you mentioned, $4,100 catcher on the DK slate, like that quite a bit. He's also in play at 2,600 on FanDuel. You can consider him a first baseman over there and just roll with it. Very nice bat for a catcher, 278, 354, 506 with 20 homers last year. Do not sleep on Garrett Mitchell. He's only 2,700 on the DK slate. Nice power speed combination from that kid. Already out to a decent start for the season, a little hot. Last year, 68 plate appearances in the show, 2 home runs, 8 stolen bases, and 11.8% barrel rate in the show in his debut. So nice little bat down there hiding for 2,700 late in the lineup, in the projected anyway. Brian Anderson, Bryce Terang, Joey Weimer, take them or leave them. You can mix and match if you're building a lot of Brewers stacks. You talked about Freddie Peralta. I will second that. Pretty enthusiastic about him. The one thing working against him here is the matchup. Cards are obviously very, very good. So he's got to get through that, but he's got all the talent in the world to be able to do it. 2 years ago, 144 and a third, 33.6% strikeout rate. Very, very nice. 78 innings last year, 27 and a third. Certainly, it's a very high-end strikeout rate. Not the monster ace number that he had the year before, but a very good pitcher who can get through this lineup. But he's going to be challenged. Brendan Donovan, Alec Burleson, Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado up top is a nice little four-man. You can connect Wilson Contreras. You can connect Tyler O'Neill. My guy, Nolan Gorman, I called him out in my article today. Love the contact profile. He's only 3,300 at third base on DK, 3,100 at second base on FanDuel. Love the power in that kid's bat. Jordan Walker, Tommy Edman. The Cards lineup plays 1 through 9 pretty well, pending the final form of it. But I really like stacking this team. So I'll have some shares of Cards, probably a little over where the field comes in, considering that Peralta will probably be a little bit popular, but I'll both sides that situation. So 3 out of 4 corners in this one for me.
All right. I see a couple things in chat. 2 Contrerases in the game. Yes, they're brothers.
Wilson and William.
Wilson.
2 of the best catcher bats in the game.
Good question here from Nathan Toth. He says, fun show. How does 4.2 for the Cardinals get calculated? I'm assuming you mean the implied run total. Essentially, that's just kind of a mathematical formula. You take the Sportsbook's implied overall game total, and then based upon the minus 120 plus 160 for the pitchers, you can back into what the number should be for the implied runs. That's the ham-fisted way of describing it, but basically it's just a math number where we say, hey, this team's likelihood of winning, here's the number of scores, this is about how the runs would break down. Of course, you get all sorts of fractional fun, which doesn't happen, but it's an indicator. Like if you there's kind of a difference between a team that's projected to score 4.1 runs and 4.6 runs.
Yeah.
There's a better chance that 4.6 turns into a 5 than the 4.1 turns into a 5. Doesn't mean it can't, but that's kind of the easiest way to think about it. It's a little tricky because we're so used to basketball. It's like, oh, well, I get the NBA points. I get NFL makes sense. And you're like, but if you look at soccer, God forbid we have to work in ties. Don't even make me start looking at that math. But when you look at baseball, that's kind of how the easiest way to explain that. So it's a Vegas number basically. Speaking of Vegas, if you raise your hand if you live in Ohio, Colorado, Virginia, New Jersey, there we go. Bet 365 if it's available in your states. Bet $1, get 200 back in bonus bets at Bet 365. Don't even have to win. You do have to deposit, but just $1. Make that wager, and as soon as you make it, boom, you're going to get $200 in bet credits from Bet 365. Again, that is only available in New Jersey, Colorado, Ohio, and Virginia. Remember, the legal age in gambling for most states is 21 or older. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Last bit of housekeeping here, because we're going to get out, hammer these last couple games. MLB returns, that's going away. The promo code, play ball, 9 days for $9. This is it. MLB has now returned. So this is the last day of that offer. Jump on that. I think they extended it through this weekend, but jump in it quick. Nine days of MLB, $1 a day. Get in there.
That's not bad.
If you guys aren't doing that, get in there. All right, let's hit these last couple. Houston at the Twins. You had Hunter Brown disappoint everyone in his last start. I'm going back to him today. Strikeouts, a potential, it's just too good. The Twins lineup is less than daunting. Byron Buxton is great. Trevor Larnach is going to have his moments, but then it really starts to fall apart. No Carlos Correa today. I'm good with Hunter Brown. I think on the other side, Tyler Mahle is okay. We're dancing with trouble going against Houston, but it's going to be a second pitcher on the mid-afternoon slate. That 3-game slate, I'm okay with that. Our last game here, and then I'm just going to turn you loose to give us 3 minutes of nonstop Terry McBride analysis. The last game would be John Gray and Jameson Taillon. Target against Taillon, he's an average pitcher at best. John Gray does have moments. I'm okay taking him against the Cubs. So I think Gray and Mahle would be your SB2s. Hunter Brown is definitely in consideration for SB1 in the main tournaments. What do you got from our last 2 games here before we make way for NBA Live before lock?
You're close enough. The basketball. We'll call it the basketball. Like Mark
the round ball. The association's going to take over
the basketball.
Yeah.
So the Astros Twins game for me was a 4 corners game. I liked all 4 parts of that. Now with no Carlos Correa in that Twins lineup, that's going to take a ding for me. I might not play as many Twins, might just grab some Byron Buxton one-offs. He's number 2 in my home run model overall for the day at a 16.27, next to just below Aaron Judge. So I still love Buxton. I'm getting decent home run marks on Larnach and Miranda in that lineup, but then it just drops off the side of the table. You've got Donovan Solano, Nick Gordon, Kyle Farmer, Matt Wallner, whoever the hell he is. Ryan Jeffers is a decent catcher play from the end of the lineup for 2,600 on DK. Sneaky power bat, maybe 13.2% barrel rate last year. Could tee up Hunter Brown here. But yeah, the Twins are very diminished losing Carlos Correa from that lineup. So I like them a lot less. Love the spot for the Astros here. You can definitely play Astros bats from top to bottom. That is a phenomenal lineup. So we can, let me pull up the confirmed. For some reason, it's not coming up correctly in my monitor here. Oh, it's not confirmed yet. So we had Chas McCormick leading off in the projected lineup, which I love. Everybody who's heard me talk about baseball knows I love Chas McCormick. His contact profile: Bregman, Jordan Alvarez, Jose Abreu, Kyle Tucker, Jeremy Pena. That's a phenomenal all-star caliber 1 through 6. Play those guys in any combination. The bottom of the lineup: Jake Myers, Mauricio Dubon, Martin Maldonado, kind of mix and match pieces. Like getting to Hunter Brown, disappointed everybody, but a premium prospect. Lot of strikeouts on the table for him in this Twins lineup. Even Byron Buxton struck out 30% of the time last year. So Brown could have a nice redemption start. Price went up after a clunky start, but he's worth getting to. Tyler Mahle, I do like. Don't like the matchup at all, but a 25% strikeout rate, serviceable numbers across the board from Mahle, and he's cheap. So I'll have some shares of him, and I don't expect him to be highly owned here. So decent tournament play. Next game, Rangers against the Cubbies. I like the Rangers bats going up against Taillon. Like you said, I might have a little bit more of a respect for Taillon. I'll probably play a few shares of him at 8,400 in an anything can happen baseball kind of a scenario. I've seen him get there enough times, get to the quality start for me on FanDuel will book me a few strikeouts and we're off and running at a cheap price and no ownership. So I might have some tie on. I prefer John Gray. 9,600 is a big price for him on the FanDuel slate, but he's kind of earned it. 25.7% strikeout rate last year, 3.46 xFIP, escaping Coors Field finally, like we were talking about for Herman Marquez. Like both lineups, but the Cubbies probably less playable here. If you're going there, Dansby, Swanson, Ian Happ, Cody Bellinger, Trey Mancini, Patrick Wisdom in the middle of the lineup is probably pretty interesting. The Rangers side of things, Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, best middle infield duo for power in the entire league. Nathaniel Lowe, Adolis Garcia. I like both of those bats as completing the four-man. Josh Young, I don't think very much of yet. He's got to come around, but there's definitely power in his bat. He just needs to be able to make contact reliably. Brad Miller is very sneaky if he's hitting late in the lineup here. So some interesting pieces to string together for the Rangers. Lower end stack for me, though.
Yeah, the quality start's a good call out there. That, of course, does make a big difference, especially on FanDuel. That's a key. I'm only doing DraftKings so far. It's too much basketball, hockey, esports, all kinds of other stuff going on. Writing multiple
car race
articles
coming up. Yeah,
multiple shows. Bristol tonight, the dirt track, Food City 300 or whatever it is down in Bristol.
Projecting the big White House Easter egg hunt too. Which kid do you like?
I think
the kids out there.
The kid in the orange shirt has some spark, shall we say? Has some spark.
Good vision, speed, long arms. I love it.
Yeah, I can do it. Not afraid to get grass stains. He's going to die for some stuff. This is going to be good. No, obviously I can play all these things, guys, because I've got the stochastic tools behind me, so it makes it very, very possible to do all of this. Plus, all learning all the different strategies and understanding stuff. We don't actually have Call of Duty. I have to play that for some DK crowns. We don't have projections for Call of Duty. Oh, no. I've never played it until this year, but just using a little game strategy that I've picked up from CSGO and League of Legends. Yeah. I actually can make competent Call of Duty lineups that min cash. So it's like, oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to lose any money as I get this crown achievement. So I can't even
play actual Call of Duty. Like I try every now and then I try and go online and play against this kid, and I'm just like that guy spinning in the corner, shooting straight up in the air that everybody just picks off a few times per game.
Yeah, that
would
be me.
With those first-person shooter games.
Yeah.
I'm still a gamer. I love video games still, but I've never been good at those first-person shooter games.
They're tricky. All right, we're gonna get on out of here because we do have NBA Deeper Dive and Live Before Lock coming up, and I don't want to shortchange Josh Engelman from any Sunday action, especially because it's Easter. So for Terry McBride, for Clarence Carter, for your old pal EMac, good luck, gamers.